Hey, it's Austin. This is a deeper dive into the first step of my workflow for Ashes, concept development. This is where I ask myself a few key questions to figure out the core idea, the format, the visual style, and the overall direction for the series. So let's dive in. I created Ashes as an experiment to learn how to use Gen AI tools and gain hands-on experience directing, editing, producing, and promoting my own work. More importantly, it was a chance for me to create something entirely on my own and share a fully realized story with an audience. I knew I wanted to make this story independently, which meant keeping the scope of the project under control. That led me to a simple story with a clear objective and a small cast of characters. That's how I got to Rudy 5, an obedient robot carrying his creator's ashes across a post-apocalyptic America. The road trip structure solved a lot of problems at once. It created a clear starting point, endpoint, and trajectory for the story. Each episode could introduce a new challenge and location while always moving the story toward the same destination. It would also give people an inherent sense of Rudy's progress and create tension if he ever stopped moving westward toward his goal. I've written feature screenplays and TV pilots before, but for Ashes, I wanted to experiment with vertical storytelling. The format's episodic structure and short runtimes force you to be an efficient storyteller. Every scene has to justify its own existence, which created a set of useful constraints that actually made it easier to tell the story. Episodes needed to be roughly 2 to 3 minutes long, shot in a 9:16 aspect ratio, be visually striking, and end on a compelling hook that made people want to watch the next episode. There are plenty of live-action vertical series and hyper-realistic Gen AI videos out there, but maintaining visual consistency is a big challenge. It's one that I thought would expand the scope of my project too much and make it difficult for me to complete on my own. Instead, I wanted a style that'd be easier to maintain across an entire season. That's how I landed on this 1980s anime-inspired look that it's a bit more grounded than traditional anime, but it has this nostalgic factor and visual appeal that reminded me of the stories I grew up with. Akira, Ghost in the Shell, and Mobile Suit Gundam were all big sources of inspiration for me. Once I settled on the core idea, the scope of the project, the format, and the visual style, I could clearly see Ashes in my mind. The next step was figuring out how to tell a compelling, emotionally engaging story about Rudy Five's journey across a post-apocalyptic wasteland, which I'll talk more about next time.